Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy news when it comes to the PlayStation 5, where it actually literally got hacked as of today. A ransomware group has now been claiming to have breached all of PlayStation's and Sony systems, and things are looking very, very not good. We're gonna go talk about this. Apparently there's like stolen data that's now being auctioned. Overall, kind of a really bad situation for Sony, especially. It's gonna talk about this and talk about the news. As often you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Of course, follow up the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to. And of course, you guys leave a like. I'm not really sure if it's good to leave a like on this type of video because it's kind of weird to like it, but either give me your thoughts and comments down below. So as you guys know, there's always the occasional, either when it comes to personnel, impersonation of people trying to go and go to Slack groups, email recoveries, or sometimes either they have access to different types of back-end data, and well, they basically just never want every information leaked on out. And Sony obviously is a big company, and hearing this news is never good news. But there's been a lot of big news floating around as of today, discussing the fact that there has been a ransomware group over here that has basically breached all of Sony's systems. This is actually going around bad. This is horrible. So the group behind the alleged attack says it's now planning to go and sell the stolen data from all of these. So ransomware group Rasman.vc claims to have successfully breached Sony Group. So as you guys know, Sony's, basically owns PlayStation. This is a part of PlayStation. PlayStation is a Sony subsidiary and one of the biggest companies, if not the biggest part of Sony itself. Don't forget, Sony also has things like music, movies, TVs, cameras, all that type of stuff. But one big thing is PlayStation is pretty much like the biggest driver of Sony, as I'm sure you guys probably know, and is now threatening to sell a cache of data stolen from the Japanese company itself. So while its claim remains unverified, Cybersecurity Connect reports that the relative ransomware newcomer has racked up an impressive amount of victims since bursting to the scene last month. Now, in case you guys are kind of curious, there's typically usually hacking groups. I'm sure you guys have heard throughout the years, like an anonymous or stuff, just random stuff like that. Or either you have prior old members that kind of float around. Sometimes people make new groups. Some people do different types of things like keyloggers and trying to get information. Sometimes you have people just working in these big corporations and they somehow get internal data. There's a lot of just the world's always full of hijinks everywhere. I'm sure you guys have seen. But as of right now, this one's more for PlayStation. So we have successfully comprised all of Sony's systems. So all, literally all. The group claimed on both the clear and dark nets. We won't ransom them. We will sell the data due to Sony not wanting to pay. This data is now for sale. Now, this is kind of intriguing. I'm sure it kind of gets a little more into this as more information comes out. But don't forget that we had Xbox have massive leaks. We're talking about them having the future of the Xbox Series X Pro and Xbox Series S Pro, the next generation of Xbox, their plans, their marketing plans, details, price points, mobile stuff. A lot of stuff was not necessarily fully leaked because it was just more so uploaded incorrectly. So it was in theory leaked, but not really. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. This might be even more intriguing because PlayStation did not have to go and basically release a lot of different stuff. Same with other various things. PlayStation's a big one from internal, imagine the CEO of Sony emailing the CEO Jim Ryan for PlayStation. There's gonna be details coming out if they have that, or from Slack communications or everything else in between. But part two is that data itself could lead to anything. This could lead to new TV tech, new camera tech, new movies coming out potentially, music as well, and obviously things with PlayStation, depending on what is released or potential release, maybe even consumer information if that's locked in somehow, or as well maybe future data plans, different events, everything. There's it's a lot. So according to Cybersecurity Connect, the group has posted some proof of hack data, although it says this is not particularly compelling information on the face of things. It appears includes what appear to be screenshots of an internal login page, an internal PowerPoint presentation, several Java files, and a file tree of a leak, which seemingly includes fewer than 6,000 files. So at least on the very surface level, this doesn't seem that bad. It doesn't seem horrible, but in the same reverse, it's any type of information that's ever stolen or leaked or kind of this, 6,000 files, although it seems not a lot for Mega Corp, don't forget, what if this is an executive or a director or someone who's a big manager who has access to this type of stuff? I mean, it could maybe just be a lowly employee who kind of doesn't really matter. You can probably leak that somewhat easily, but 6,000 files, even when I've worked in corporate jobs, still seems like a lot more than I typically would have access to. Also, Java files too as well, file trees too, just even PowerPoints. Maybe that's a press thing. Maybe that's for other external investors. Typically you don't usually get PowerPoints leaked from internals, and it just seems sketchy. So the group listed a post date of September 28th, which after which, if nobody purchases the data, is presumably when ransom.vc will publish the data wholesale. So another thing to that is that they're trying to make some money off this. Like, we don't know how in-depth these leaks are. Like, the GTA leaks were big. Like, there actually, I think, was a buyer for the GTA 6 leaks. This seems a little bit on the, well, it can kind of go either way. This could have a lot of good information, could not, depends on how much money they're trying to get for it. And at the same time, too, usually ransom might be like more ransomware, so maybe think more like keylogger and stuff. So maybe someone just sent like a random phishing email and someone was stupid and clicked on it. I'm not really sure exactly how they got it. But that seems like a good amount of data, especially if they think it's worth money to be sold. And either way, it does seem like at least on September 28th, if nothing else happens, we might have actual access to all these in the first place, which I think is nice. I think that's good. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to go and say. As like a YouTube personality who does all this console news, I think it's good because I want to know the future of PlayStation. I want to know what they're working on. I want to know what's inside these leaks, especially when it comes to Sony stuff. What if it's movies? People who really like upcoming Sony movies might like it. This actually might even have upcoming video games too as well. Right now, we only know things about Wolverine. Like, so for me, as like a very, very nosy person on Twitch or Twitter or YouTube, I like this. But as a typical normal company, so like this could be in personal information. I don't want that out there. This could be random stuff that might ruin and spoil surprises. I also don't want that out there. This could be someone's job as well being lost or other various stuff. Like, I don't want any like information from like, say, you guys who might have a PlayStation, myself included, getting leaked. So it depends on what the level of this might be. So Ransom VC is said to have both a ransomware operator and a ransomware as a service organization. It claims to be a secure solution for addressing data security vulnerabilities within companies and also to be operating in strict compliance with the GDPR and data privacy laws. Although I'm not really sure exactly how holding this information that they got and is leaked, how this is legal. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not really 100% sure on how that kind of works out, but at the same exact times, it's intriguing to note. I don't know, like, I'm not really sure I could have this all like in these random compliances. Although I'm not familiar with these myself, I'm curious. In cases where payment is not received, we are obligated to report a data privacy law violation to the GDPR, the group says. So I'm not sure if it's one of those things where like they somehow can scheme the system and like they somehow did a legal thing that was somehow illegal at the end of the day. Like, I don't know. I feel like ransoming a company seems illegal regardless, but it does seem like if they have all this information, they maybe go report it and see what happens from there. So most of Ransom VC's members reportedly operate out of the Ukraine and Russia, which also might make it even harder for them to either get like, either sanctioned or kind of had to do with the government. Let's say you're the United States government and you have a random Russian hacking group, you're probably not going to want to deal with that. There's already kind of tensions being really high in Russia and Ukraine. You're probably going to try to avoid that the best you can. And also VGC is a contacted Sony for comment on this report and will also update as well. And don't forget, even back in 2011 more so, Sony's PlayStation Network suffered a massive breach that resulted in the personal data of over 77 million accounts being compromised and the service even being taken offline for 23 days. So Sony initially estimated the hack would cost them more than $100 million, and it was forced to apologize not only to players, but developers whose game launches were disrupted or whose online services were left unavailable. Sony eventually faced as many as 55 class action lawsuits and agreed to offer compensation for those affected, including free games as well, which at least they did try their best to make it right at the end of the day after that big issue. This one, we don't know what is going to be leaked. In terms of this, like, what if there's a way to go and have all your data and information, passwords, credit cards? Ideally not, because those are usually more encrypted and differently, like probably not easily accessible towards employees. So hopefully we don't have to worry. Although we don't, once again, know the scale of this information, the scale of the hack, and the scale of all the RAM stuff that might come out in the future. We just don't 100% know. I wish I did, but we don't know. So it does seem like throughout this next few weeks, it might be a little bit more on the intriguing side to see if someone does get the information or not, or if they release them too. So you are the lifeblood of the company. PlayStation US boss Jack Tran said at the time, without you, there is no PlayStation. I want to apologize personally. It's you that causes us to be humbled and amazed by the support you continue to give. And while they always know these things are always rough when it comes to these random hacks, etc., it is a little bit of a scary situation to be in nonetheless. So once again, be a little bit careful. It is not confirmed that there is any hack of personal information, credit card information, debit card information, PayPal information, addresses, or whatever, but please always be careful. Make sure if you guys don't click on any like phishing emails that may pay up throughout these next few weeks as we get more information, and also make sure you guys are subscribed to let you guys know if there is something that affects us as consumers or the general PlayStation market. This also might be intriguing leaks too in terms of future games and presentations. Like I said, said, or even Sony Music movies as well. So if there's any good, we'll let you guys know. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow. We also have the Amazon links too, as well if you guys check those on out for the nice little consoles or whatever. And hopefully this will not be the biggest deal, because I don't want you guys to lose all of your information.